I'm not going to do a bell. We'll just start. Let's do a little breathing stuff to get ourselves into our body. I'm always a little philosophical, which might get us into our head, but I want to get us into our body. So taking a deep breath and let it out. And do that again. Just be aware of any resistance to that breathing and just be awake to it. There's nothing wrong with it. Just notice. I'm going to do some counting breath. So we're going to breathe in on a count of 4. We're going to hold it for a count of 7. And then we're going to breathe out for a count of 8. And I will guide you for 2 or 3 of those, and then I'll have you do 2 or 3 on your own. So wherever you are, let out your breath and breathe in 2, 3, 4, hold 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, out 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. In 2, 3, 4, hold 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, out 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. In 2, 3, 4, hold 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, out 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. In your own time for a couple times. And then let your breath be natural. So we're going to intentionally control our attention now. It's a wild horse, so it will not listen very often, but we just keep trying. Bring our attention to the feeling of our breath in our body. I'm going to allow you to choose where, but you could do your belly, which helps to keep us sort of distant from our mind and helps quiet and relax us if we can do that. You could do the breath right in the nostrils, which requires a little bit more concentration, but can give you a nice sharp alertness. You can sort of feel, you can move through the breath, or you can feel the whole breath all at once. And just notice how much the mind doesn't want to do this. Just asking it, can you notice the breath come in? Can you notice the breath go out? Can you notice the breath go in? Can you notice the breath go out? If you don't like the breath, you can choose any other part of your body. Can you feel your feet on the ground? And just use a label. All we're asking the mind is, can you experience this right now? Can you feel your feet on the ground? Can you feel your breath? And you might say in your mind, feel, feel. Feel. When you're actually feeling your breath, none of your problems are present. It might just be for a split second. You get a vacation from all your thinking when you feel the present moment experience of your breath. In, out, feel, feel. So I want you to really notice that the breath can breathe without you doing anything. So I like to use the idea of waiting. Just wait for the breath to come in. You don't need to do it. It'll come in when it wants to. Wait for the breath to go out. You don't need to do anything. Your breath will go out when it wants to. And if you can watch the breath while not doing the breath, you will start to taste the movement of experience. What it's like to not hold on to experience. As every aspect of the breath gets to happen and you let the previous moment of the breath disappear, and it's okay. We are boring the mind to death. That is part of what we're doing. Classical Zen practice, they have you sit with your eyes open and stare at a white wall 2 feet in front of you. It's part of the boring the mind to death. Now, the truth is the breath is beautiful and interesting, and there's actually a lot going on there. But at first, it's so boring compared to Netflix or whatever, right? And when you get a taste of this actual present moment experience of the breath where you're not holding on to it, there's some relaxation that starts to enter the body. And you'll just notice that. And that will start to reward you and make it easier to do it. But first, you'll just get little tastes. And some days, even no matter how many years you've been practicing, you only get little tastes. Now, is there some part of your breathing process that is fighting or restricted? If you want to, you can bring your attention to that area. And we bring attention to that area. So say our throat is a little constricted, or our heart, or our jaw, our neck. We bring the same kind of attention to the restricted area as we do to the rest of the breath. We let the breath come in when it wants to and go out just how it wants to. The restricted area may not be super relaxed. It may be, the breath might get shallow as we attend to this area. That's okay. Because we don't need to control it. We can just fall into the flow of experience and trust that what's going to happen next will be all right. So the metaphor here is you don't need to do anything and you will never run out of air. Might be worried about it, but if you don't do anything, I promise you will not run out of air because your body will take care of you. And that ultimately applies to the rest of our experience. Your body, mind, and heart will take care of you. You don't need to control it. So what are we doing? We're bringing our concentration to our breath somewhere in our body. We are focusing on not doing the breath, letting it move how it wants to move. And at first that can be challenging. If we want to get a little more specific, we're noticing areas of our breath that feel a little more restrictive, and we're just removing any resistance from them and letting them be the way they are. And I want to tell you that this experience, that this attitude that we are approaching our breath with, is actually the attitude of love. And you might notice the feeling of that. You are attending with care to a part of your body, to the breath, and you're letting it be exactly what it is. Any judgment you have will start to be an attempt to control it, right? It's okay if judgment arises, but just let it go. You don't have to be good at this. You don't have to breathe right. Where does this love come from? So if you're still having trouble concentrating, I want you to keep coming back to a part of it. Just feel. Can you feel it this moment? Can you feel it this moment? Use a label, feel. But for those of you that are starting to feel settled, I want you to add in the whole body. So you breathe in, breathe out, and then you feel the whole body. Again, this feels like we're doing some control because we're controlling our attention. We're focusing on the breath, on the in-breath, we're focusing on the out-breath, and then we're zooming out and focusing on the whole body. And that's true. We are pretending to control our attention. But as you do that, can you start to let go of everything else? Just let your body move through time and space. I guarantee you your body's going to move through time and space. You don't need to do anything. It will get to the next moment. You don't need to rush it. And don't need to slow it down. It's going to go at exactly the right pace. Your body is flying through time. So you breathe in, your breath is there. You don't control it. You breathe out, your breath is there. You don't control it. And you feel the whole body, and you're feeling the whole body falling through the waterfall, essentially. The waterfall of time. When your mind gets distracted, can you notice the breath? What does it feel like now? Is it cold? Is it hot? Is it smooth? Is it rough? What's the shape of the feeling? Okay, so within this experience of the breath coming in and breath going out, and then noticing the whole body, you may notice, are you feeling resistance? Are you suffering? Are you struggling? Is there some emotion coming up? And I just want us to acknowledge that now. I don't want us to keep fighting with it. If you have a feeling in your body, there's any kind of resistance, is there a name for it? Is it sadness? Is it anxiety? Is it something more specific? It's okay, just name it if you can. If not, just notice the feeling of it. We're not judging it. And I just want you to notice that that feeling, the breath is happening in that feeling. So the breath comes in and the feeling is there. The breath goes out, the feeling is there. The whole body, as we wait for the breath to come back in, the feeling is there in the same space. And it's also something you don't need to control. You don't need to fix it, make it better. One way of saying this, by the way, which is a challenging way to put it, but I think it might be helpful, is you don't need to be comfortable. It's not your job to make you comfortable. Another way of putting this, if you're not comfortable, that's important information. So we don't want to just get comfortable. If we're not comfortable because we're outside and it's cold, it's because it's telling us, hey, this is too cold for our body. If we're not comfortable because, in life where we put our hand on a hot stove, it's not comfortable because it's telling us, hey, get your hand off the stove. We don't need to do anything. Our body will respond properly. So we don't want to just constantly be trying to make ourselves comfortable with our mind. We want to allow the discomfort to arise and educate us through the natural flow of experience. This is ultimately a very important lesson to learn. Now, we do not need to seek out discomfort. We don't need to ignore that there's already comfort here. We also don't need to fix anything that's uncomfortable. Because when we are truly not letting the dust settle, when we are truly willing to not have this experience, when we're truly jumping into the waterfall, discomfort only lasts for a split second. It can't last longer than that, because the next moment has a whole different experience. So in, we notice the breath come in, out, we feel it, whole body. Now, for those who want to, you can expand past whole body and just notice whole experience if you want. In, out, whole experience. And we're now letting our whole experience move forward through time. Not having to control any of it. You might find yourself when you do this, you fall behind your body, or you might find yourself behind your sacrum, behind your heart, behind your head maybe, and you letting all experience move through time, not holding on to anything except a little bit, the in-breath and the out-breath. We're not controlling the in-breath and the out-breath, we're just making them a little bit central. Okay, so to finish up here, I'm going to do that exercise we were talking about in the talk, and we just we let go of control of our attention now, if you want to. And we're doing the same thing we did with the breath, where you let the breath come in when it wants to, and you let the breath go out when it wants to. Now we let our attention move left when it wants to. We let our attention move right when it wants to. We let our attention move up when it wants to. We let our attention move down when it wants to. We let our attention zoom in when it wants to. We let our attention zoom out when it wants to. We let our attention go out into the world when it wants to. We let our attention go into our emotions or mind when it wants to. We let our attention move fast or slow. We let it be smooth or jumpy. We let it be dark or light. Hmm. Okay, I'm gonna finish up there. As you want to open your eyes and just let your body move. Once too, we've been relatively still for a little while. It's good to let your body know that you're not trapping it or it's not stuck. And there might be things that want to happen. I like to roll my shoulders a little. Use the scapula to sort of pull the shoulders up. And if you want to get up and walk around a little bit,